Hello everyone, Nick here, and welcome back to yet another installment of Wayback Machines, the series where we take a look at obscure, obsolete, and forgotten tech from way back when. Now, today's topic is quite an interesting one, because we're going to be taking a look at probably the most obscure device I've reviewed on this channel. Yes, even more obscure than that one MP3 player. To make a long story short, I was first made aware of this device by my friend David from the UK, which is actually where this product originates from. He told me that it would be cool if I covered it on my channel, and I agreed as it seemed like a pretty neat topic, especially because nobody else seems to be talking about it. After that conversation, I looked it up on YouTube to confirm that last thing, and yup, crickets. I think I only saw one or two videos, and the rest were unrelated. Anyway, I looked up eBay listings for the thing, and to my shock, there were actually a respectable amount. I soon realized that most of them were dirt cheap, so I snagged a sealed copy and started writing the script. Sadly, that's where the problems began, because the package got lost in shipping. But thankfully, after I think it was 4 months, 4 months of nagging eBay about it, I finally received the package. And it looks like you'd expect it to after being lost in shipping for 4 months. I mean, the tape already came off. But enough talk, what even is this thing? If you're confused by what you're looking at, or you've simply never seen it before, let me finally introduce you to NETVision. Now, NETVision was one of those internet appliances from the late 90s that allowed you to surf the web easily and conveniently from the comfort of your couch. You could check your email, visit websites, catch up on the news, check stocks, and even view photos and listen to music, all while still having full TV functionality. It also had a TV tuner, which allowed you to browse the web while watching a channel in picture-in-picture, and a built-in 10 gig hard drive for storing data like TV schedules, audio files, and images. Basically, think Web TV, or rather MSN TV, after Microsoft bought them out. However, unlike their close relative, NETVision was never purchased by Microsoft, but their story does start with them. NETVision's story begins in April of 1997, when Web TV was acquired by Microsoft. A handful of Web TV employees weren't very enthusiastic about the buyout, and formally resigned from Web TV in June with intentions of forming a new startup. By early next year, NETVision Programs was already developing their first product in the UK, the home country of its project lead, Peter Dandridge. Development of NETVision began roughly around August 1997, spearheaded by Dandridge and Richard Burbank. The team's goal was to basically create a spiritual successor to Web TV with much of the same functionality, while improving the user experience and adding additional features. After securing £778,000, roughly $1 million in venture capital funding, NETVision began ramping up development, aiming for a holiday 1999 release. To operate their servers, NETVision Programs decided to team up with the Swedish telecommunications company Ericsson, taking a huge burden off their backs. Now, instead of partnering with an established manufacturer like Sony or Philips, something the team did whilst at Web TV, the company decided that they would independently manufacture the hardware instead of just providing the software. This decision would ultimately be one of the reasons why they went under so quickly. Finally, during November 1999, NETVision would arrive on store shelves exclusively in the EU, costing around $315 or £249, a great price when compared to Web TV's $350. The device would be released a couple of months later in the US, Canada, and Japan, to much less fanfare. To say this thing was a smash hit is a bit of an exaggeration, but it was indeed a great success for the company, at least initially. In their first week, the system sold around 90,000 units, piggybacking off of the success of Web TV. But in the following years, the system began dwindling in popularity, and the company started suffering due to a variety of factors. As more and more people grew accustomed to using desktops, the training wheels that NETVision and similar products provided weren't needed anymore. The system also struggled with profitability and with retaining customers, partially because Web TV dominated the niche. Finally, a major scandal in 2001 with Microsoft would hurt the company's reputation and its investor funding, crippling them further. All these problems added up and caused the company to cease production of units in late 2005, and it would later file for bankruptcy in 2006. With the background out of the way, it's time for the main event. So without further ado, let's take a look at our brand new NETVision system. One thing I should point out is that the NETVision servers are actually still operational. Yup, you heard that right. What's likely happening is that some of the original team members are still paying server costs in conjunction with Ericsson, who are likely helping as well. But no one 100% knows for sure. Because of this, you don't actually need to do much of anything to get it to work. So no custom servers or dial tone trickery required like with Web TV. All you need is the system, a compatible TV, and a phone line for the dial-up internet, which I conveniently already set up for past videos. I must say, the packaging is quite nice. Unlike Web TV, NETVision had one unified design, which I quite enjoy. This unit has never been opened before, which is very exciting. It's quite odd that there were so many sealed ones on eBay. Guess some guy just found a bunch of unsold stock. Okay, I'm gonna cut you when everything's open, so you collector types don't have to suffer. And here's the NETVision box itself. Quite a simple design, but I like it. It doesn't need to be very fancy, since it's just gonna sit there on your shelf. On the back, we just have the expected ports. Phone line, USB, composite and coax, S-video, the IR receiver, the IR blaster, and, interestingly enough, we have a printer port, which was actually for printing screenshots. Over here you'll notice this little sticker, which is a kind of serial ID, and since this model is from July 2005, it shouldn't need any updates. I also want to highlight this warning here, which basically mentions that at any point, NETVision programs could intercept your signal remotely, which is pretty wild. This was due to some EU regulations they had to comply with. Alright, here's everything that came in the box. We also have the remote, which is the main way we'll be interfacing with this thing. Okay, I'm gonna set everything up now and see if we can get this guy to work. Okay, I have everything ready to go. I don't think I messed anything up. So let's finally turn on our NETVision. I can't imagine how long this thing has been waiting to be activated. I also took the liberty of switching to my HD mic. Not bad, that actually worked first try. We'll see if it lets me connect to the actual servers though. I imagine the small minority of you who grew up with the system are being flooded with nostalgia right now. Hell, even I'm feeling a bit of that now. This screen just has that feel to it, you know? The backdrop kinda reminds me of Windows Vista, with all the swooshy lines and all. Okay, reaching NETVision servers. Come on, baby. And we're in. Nice. Alright, looks like we get a little introduction here. Welcome to NETVision. This short guide will teach you how to use your device and help you set it up. To continue, locate the Go button on your remote. Okay, there we go. To begin, find the arrows on your remote. Use them to move the box to the Continue button on the bottom right corner. It's funny that we had to be told this back then. And it makes sense because devices like these were aimed towards people who didn't know how to use, well, technology. Have a wireless keyboard? If so, we recommend you use it. If not, no worries, simply keep using the remote. Okay, so now it's asking for a keyboard. Now, while the box itself didn't come with one, I do have a compatible model from a past video. I think I showcased it in a Curious Tech episode. Let me see if I can find it, because I don't even remember where I shoved it. And there we go, we now have a keyboard. I'm still gonna use the remote for anything that isn't typing though, just to be authentic. This is gonna make typing a much smoother process since the on-screen keyboard is, well, if you've ever used the keyboard on any smart TV, you know the feeling. By signing up, you provide your name and other related information. You'll have the chance to review all the info before confirming it. NETVision subscription/email fees are £12.99 per month? Huh, that's interesting, it still lists the price. Type your first name only. Alright, Electro. There we go. And my last name is Nick. Finally, create your new email address. This address is permanent and can't be changed, so choose wisely. Your new @netviz.com address is also exclusive to this device. Okay, so Electronick, there we go. Now, the interesting thing about this address is that unlike Web TV, you could use this email like any other regular one. Here's all your account info. Feel free to make any adjustments you want. Once you're done, just click sign up. Yeah, seems good. My first name is indeed Electro, and my last name is in fact Nick. It's very nice that they actually let you review the info here. By creating an account, you're entering an agreement with NETVision Programs Inc. and Ericsson. Do you wish to read the ULA? Nope. For as much as I'd love to do that, I've got better things to do. Not like I ever read them anyways. Thanks for signing up to NETVision. Do you want to view the introductory presentation? Yes. Wait a second, update required? Huh, I thought I had the latest model. I'll have to check the model number later. Well, I'll cut you when this thing finishes loading because it might take a while. Okay, it's looking like it's gonna finish any second now. Nothing's gone wrong yet. I am a bit worried that it won't be able to fetch the files it needs. Oh, never mind, it finished. So let's see here.
NETVision is the system that combines the entertainment and simplicity of your TV with all the capabilities of your computer.
Okay.
In the following slides, we'll brief you on all of NETVision's incredible features.
Oh, alright, we get some narration here.
With NETVision, you can do everything from sending emails to watching your favorite shows, catching up on news sites, and surfing the web. And the best part? You can do everything from the comfort of your couch. On the TV Hub, you can surf through channels like on any other TV. However, you can also favorite channels for quick access. TV listings provide an always updating schedule of that week's programming. NETVision makes it easy to program your VCR. Simply find your desired show on the TV schedule, choose the record option, and you're set. NETVision does everything automatically. The home screen is your entryway into the internet. While you can open your TV here, you can also check your email, surf the web, catch up on news or sports, and access a wide variety of other pages and features. You can upload your own images and audio files to your NETVision through memory cards, or you can even download files online. Once downloaded, you can easily create great slideshows and even accompany them with music. The NETVision network is the gateway into the wider community. You can meet users with similar interests, browse user-built communities, or make your own and design or publish your own website. If you have issues setting up NETVision, you can always go to the Info Center in NET Home or find the Help menu in Settings on the TV Hub. Press Continue to begin your NETVision journey.
Looks like that's about it. A very nice informative presentation there. So without further delay, let's actually begin our NETVision journey. Oh, very nice. Reminds me of the old Windows intro sounds. Alright, so here's our home screen. This is definitely, without a doubt, one of the coolest bits of tech that I've reviewed on this channel. Man, look at this thing! So let's take a look at what we've got here. We have Net, which is how you actually access the internet. TV, which is self-explanatory. Faves, which are basically our bookmarks. Mail, search. And then we have all these other apps, I guess? Yeah, I guess you could call these apps. So we've got some settings over here. Around Me, which is a feature lifted from Web TV, that's really neat. The News Hub, Weather, Entertainment, Sports, Stocks, and yeah, you could actually trade stocks with this. Which I know sounds crazy, but it's true. My Photos and Audio, so like I said, you could get your images and MP3s in here, not video though. And finally, TV Guide. In the center of the screen, you'll notice a banner with headlines, which is actually yet another concept from Web TV. As I've alluded to, this thing shares a lot of stuff with it, which is something I'll touch on when I discuss the Microsoft scandal later on. So that's the home menu for now. Let's actually jump into these apps at the top here. I believe these sort of operate like pins and you can swap them around. So let's check out TV first. I'll save Net for last since that seems like the most exciting app. Alright, so this is the TV Hub, and this is where you'd go to watch, well, TV. I believe you could actually set it so that it boots you here instead of the home menu, but there's no need to do that because the remote has buttons to swap between both. So over here we have the listings, which we briefly saw a glimpse of in the intro, and I don't think they work. Yeah, they don't work. If I had this connected to an antenna, it would in theory work, but I obviously don't. That's also why we have static. And speaking of, we can actually click the broadcast to make it full screen, so if I had a signal coming in, we could just watch TV like normal. Over here's Faves and VCR, which is broken to. It would just show our favorite channels in the VCR settings. And finally, we have the TV settings, which we can actually view. Yeah, nothing really of note here. Okay, so let's exit out of there and get these three apps out of the way. Not much to look at here, that is indeed my username. So, we've got password stuff, we can set up different profiles, which is cool, change our location, and finally some profile settings, which if I'm not wrong include the profile pic. I'm not gonna change that for as much as I'd want to. Info Center, let's see... About NETVision, Controls, Troubleshoot. So okay, nothing too fancy. And finally, we've got ourselves a bunch of options here. Alright, so next up is favorites. We're just gonna take a quick look at it since I haven't really added anything yet. And yeah, as you can see, it's empty. Interestingly enough, it has both sites and channels. That's a cool feature. Next up is mail. Very nice banner here, and it looks like we've already got something in our inbox. Holy crap! No way! This thing is still dishing out responses? Oh my lord, how long has it been since 2006? 18 years? Well, I guess it's not that shocking, but still, this bot should have been shut off long ago. Okay, we'll check that out later. So yeah, as you can see, this isn't a very complex layout, we just have all the essentials. We can write an email here, and the cool thing is you can also attach files. Here's our inbox, or I guess mailbox, and a list of our recently interacted addresses. So let's finally check out our message here. Welcome to NETVision. Hello, and welcome to NETVision. We want to thank you for signing up to the NETVision service, and we sincerely hope that you enjoy your stay. Yeah, blah blah blah, if you still aren't sure what you do next. Okay, so it's basically just telling us what other activities we can do. There's not much else they can say, because honestly, that intro was very informative. But let's go ahead and reply here. Hello, I am documenting your program. Hit send. There we go. Man, I'm surprised the bot is still dishing out the welcome message, but I guess that's just the thing built into the system. Okay, so that was the mail service. Now, let's go ahead and check out search, which should be quite interesting as well. So here's search. Type in a word, phrase, or web address. We're gonna look up stuff in a second. I might just look up one thing to check if the browser works. It probably doesn't. But anyways, we can just type in something here like any regular browser, but the interesting detail is that it's powered by AltaVista. AltaVista was a pretty popular search engine from back in the day that allowed you to filter searches by media type, so if you wanted just images, you could just look up images. If you wanted audio, you could look up audio, etc. This isn't that crazy nowadays, but back then it was quite impressive, and you could make your search super specific as well. This led to them becoming a popular option, which is likely why they're here. Anyways, we've got search categories, which if I remember correctly are just collections of links. Let's check out some of these real quick. Games. Okay, yeah, it's just a bunch of links. We've got board games, tabletop games, video games, consoles, PC games, nice IGN and Eurogamer cameos. Do any of these links work? Alright, how about, kids? Toys, shows, wait, Cartoon Network? Did they have to get permission from them to post a link here? Pretty cool section, must have been a blast for kids. Let's check out one more, travel. I imagine this must have been a blessing back then, especially for internet illiterate grandmas and kids. So let's look up something real quick. Like I said, we'll take a better look later. I'm just gonna look up YouTube to see if it even still works. Whoa, wait a second. What? It actually still works. How? That's impossible. AltaVista shut down in like 2013, so they must have found a way to like preserve it somehow? Okay, I was not expecting this to work, oh my god. Let's see if it lets us... Okay, I can't load onto YouTube, but I can still search for stuff, so maybe older sites will work? Anyways, we'll take a closer look later. Oh my god, I was not expecting that. That should not be possible. Okay, so this is Around Me. This is probably one of my favorite pages, not feature, but page, just because of how cool it looks. So Around Me is essentially a collection of sites that change based on your location. Currently it says I'm in London, which is obviously not my location, but it changes the info based on that. So if I were to change it to where I actually am, the links would be region specific. Now, let me check if the forecast is working or not, because it might be broken. Well, it still works, but I don't know where it's fetching this info from since it's not the current forecast. I'm pretty sure it might be delayed or something. That is so weird. Alright, let's take a look at all the links we have here. So, these are the local services. In theory, if I were to click on eBay, it would take me to the UK's eBay. Starting off, we've got Jobs and Careers, search jobs with jobstreet.com. That website is probably long gone now. Most of these are, as you'll see. Facebook. Now, I know some of you might be shocked to see Facebook on here, but NETVision was last updated around 2006, and that's right when Facebook began dethroning MySpace. Find local businesses on Zip2. eBay here. I want to see if it loads. And it does not. Who would have guessed? Then we've got Multimap, which was like the Google Maps of its day, and finally Yahoo Local, which might still be around today. I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, it doesn't let me in, but I'm sure it's still around. Next up is the Going Out section. We have IMDb. It's neat that we have lots of sites that are still kicking today. Yep, doesn't work. No idea why I keep trying. Find local events on City Search. Restaurant reviews on OpenTable.com. We can change our location over here, which I might do later. Yahoo Sports. Browse current listings on Fandango, and yeah, it's broken. And finally, Live Nation. So yeah, quite an interesting selection here. One thing I forgot to mention is that at any point you can bring up this mini menu with the little menu button on the remote. You can quickly favorite pages, take a screenshot, which we'll do right now. There we go. You can save your current page so you'll boot back on it, share it via email or messenger, and reload and stuff. Now, you may have probably noticed that over here we have picture-in-picture, so if I click here, it brings up the broadcast. Like I mentioned before, you can freely browse and watch at the same time. We'll turn that off for now and check out messages here. We're gonna discuss the friend section later on, but basically, NETVision allows you to friend users and chat with them. You can also see their activity, kinda like on Steam. Here's requests, and we can also make groups. This also used to have AOL support, but obviously that's gone. Next up, we've got News Hub. Now, this is pretty much where you go if you wanted to catch up on the news but didn't get the chance to on TV. You could also just open this menu and read the newspaper digitally, which they marketed a lot. Sadly, I don't believe that works anymore. Up top, we have ourselves some scrolling headlines, and over here we've just got some links to news sites, CNN, Fox News, ABC, yada yada yada. At the bottom, we've got some categories: politics, finance, world news, the works. Now, I think I just figured out where it's fetching this info from. These headlines are from years ago, right? They're probably from exactly when the servers stopped receiving updates, so that make them from around 2006. That means that everything has been frozen like this for 18 years. I don't guarantee that that is what's happening, but I'm guessing it's probably something along those lines because this is pretty surreal. Here's weather. Quite impressive that they had a fully functional weather app inside this. So at the top we have the city I'm in, or London I guess. We have the temperature, the little weekly forecast like on Around Me, and down here the weather info. Man, it's so weird to think that this may actually be the weather from 19 years ago. Now, on the right, you'll notice it says Powered by AccuWeather. This was a very similar partnership to Altavis's, but the cool thing is AccuWeather is still around. So here's the weather info from sometime back in the day, I suppose. 29 degrees Celsius, England refusing to use the much superior Fahrenheit. You can also view it by hour or daily, which is quite handy. Man, I am in love with this layout. It's sort of similar to the current AccuWeather one, funnily enough. Now, let me see if I can change the location to my actual one. There we go. Oakland, California, USA. And boom, now we're in Oakland. Is the forecast still messed up? Yep, it's not accurate. What's odd about this is, how did the system even retrieve this data? That just proves that the servers are frozen in some way, since if they were just abandoned, we wouldn't get anything. I just can't get over how odd it is that everything's preserved like this. Let's get out of here and take a look at entertainment, which I'm very curious about. Is this just gonna be a collection of links or what? Oh wow, okay, it sort of is. Over here are the categories, but down here we've got some show recommendations, which is just awesome. And no way, these are actually old shows from the time? Wait. So this preservation effect is system-wide, it isn't just a couple apps. This whole menu is just such a strange time capsule. So these were the most popular shows in 2006. Down here we have the movie listings, which are frozen in time. We were just by the third Mission Impossible. By the way, these links would just take you to buy tickets, I'm guessing. Anyways, we have Top Gear, Fantastic Show, Doctor Who, Battlestar Galactica, Oh. Wait, I got an email here. It's from the NETVision account? That's strange. How's that even possible? I'm not even gonna bother with it. It's probably some spam thing. Anyways, let's exit and take a look at the other apps here. Okay, over here we have the sports menu. Nothing too interesting, although I do find it very surreal that there's still links to view live games here. Anyway, the live games are actually a very nice feature. Here's the sports channels and different sports here at the bottom. A very specific but useful app. Must have been super cool back then. Next up we have stocks. Now, like I said, at one point you could actually access the stock market on NETVision, which is obviously the craziest thing ever. Granted, it was through a third-party website that this app just linked to, that's why we can't access any of the links, but it's still crazy. Imagine losing a huge amount of money trading on your damn television. Last thing we're gonna do before jumping on the net is take a look at images and music. Earlier I mentioned the image and music capabilities of the NETVision, and if we go ahead and enter here, you'll see that we're now in the My Images menu. Now, I don't have anything in here yet, just some default images, but we can very easily load stuff using a USB stick. This wasn't the only method, as there used to be a desktop app that let you send them on PC, but that's long gone. Up top we can add folders too. Anyway, let's take a look at this first picture. We can view it in full screen, and there's some other options as well. Okay, I've gone ahead and loaded some stuff into an USB. Luckily the system has 5 gigs, so we won't run out anytime soon. I loaded a lot in there for the next features we're going to check out. Now, while these files load in, I want to briefly talk about the 2004 NETVision Microsoft lawsuit. Now, to discuss this case, I do need to remind you of some context first. Just a year and a half after WebTV was founded, which was the first of these internet appliance manufacturers, the company was acquired by Microsoft in 1997, which caused some former developers to resign and create NETVision. After a short development cycle, NETVision would launch in 1999, and 2 years after that, Microsoft would completely rebrand WebTV as MSN TV. Now, at first, NETVision employees were mostly unamused by the rebranding, though a vocal minority was frustrated that their previous work was being defaced. However, that indifference would soon turn to frustration as Microsoft began unveiling more details. MSN TV was a complete redesign of the Web TV service from the ground up, and it sported numerous brand new features. But you see, it just so happened that a lot of those new features and UI elements were suspiciously similar to NETVision's, or at least that's what the dev team believed. In fact, they were so sure of it that they would file a class action lawsuit against MSN TV in October 2001, which accused Microsoft of stealing patented features, user interface elements, and other technical and design aspects of NETVision. Co-founders Peter Dandridge and Richard Burbank had this to say about the lawsuit. "We are completely and utterly disgusted that our former development partners would not only steal like this from us, but also do it in such shameless and obvious ways. NETVision had enough innovation to distinguish itself from WebTV when it launched, but the amount of borrowed features from our product in the new MSN TV is unbelievable." To give these guys credit, they had a good case against Microsoft, and I think that what they said there is mostly true, for the most part. While their case was quite solid, the hypocrisy and exaggerations just couldn't be ignored, plus Microsoft's legal team was obviously relentless. NETVision programs ended up settling with Microsoft for an undisclosed amount in 2004. The court ruled that while NETVision had good arguments, there was no solid evidence to prove that Microsoft had intentionally stolen design elements, code, or features from them. It's presumed that both parties paid some sort of fee and that Microsoft vowed not to steal any material. However, the only casualty here was NETVision, as this scandal was the reason why they lost the large majority of their investor funding. It's also believed that they paid around $2 million to Microsoft for damages, and most of that amount was taken from Dandridge's own pocket. That, plus the legal fees, placed him into insurmountable debt. In early 2006, NETVision would file for bankruptcy and would shut down its operations. Thankfully, most employees moved on to greener pastures. However, the fate of Dandridge himself was far less heartwarming, as after an arduous battle with mental illness, most of that stress caused by the lawsuit, he would take his own life in his Liverpool estate later that year. There are accounts from the team that say Dandridge was already suffering from mental issues beforehand, but I couldn't find anything concrete. As for Burbank, he reportedly became a recluse, likely because of the loss of the company and his colleague. Well, that was a sad note to end on. But on the bright side, our files have all successfully loaded. As you can see here, I didn't put that much stuff in, but this should be enough to make some good collages. So over here, we've got a penguin, some root beer, the old 117, this image, and my banner. Now, you'll notice that there's a creative option here. If we click on that, it gives us the choice between making a slideshow or a collage. We'll check out both real quick. If you click on slideshow, it just makes you select what images you want to put in it, and I don't think there's a limit. So let's just pick these 3. And presto, there's our slideshow right there. Now, collage is a bit more interesting because you can actually resize and edit. More emails? Is this bot glitched out? I'm kinda in the middle of something here. Anyways, like I was saying, you can resize and edit images, and you can even add your own text as well. And here's the menu. Nothing too advanced for its time, but it gets the job done. Alright, I think that's enough images for the time being. Let's take a look at music next. In that USB I plugged in, I also included some songs and MIDI files, cause yeah, NETVision actually supports MIDI just like WebTV. So here are the songs I downloaded. You can see on the MP3s that the system saves the track metadata, including the cover, which plays a huge role in a feature we're gonna see in a second. So let's hear the samples first because I haven't heard them before. No, this is just the startup screen music. Pretty neat. This is actually a great song. Shame it has no name listed. Let's hear the other one. Alright, not as good, but still solid. By the way, you can control the song using the remote. It's pretty comfortable, actually. Alright, let's take a listen to our first MIDI here. Doesn't sound so bad. That's definitely the Doom theme right there. Man, those MIDI instruments just scream Doom to me. And check this out, you can actually leave the menu and the song will still play here. That's incredible. Let's go back and listen to these other ones. So here's Scarlet Fire. Now, another great feature this thing has is when you click on cover over here using, up arrow I believe? That's confusing. But yeah, when you click on up arrow, it puts you in this Apple-esque cover flow mode that just looks beautiful. You can still control everything like usual. You know, it's weird because this was implemented into NETVision like 2 years before Apple added the real cover flow themselves, but of course the interface existed long before 06. Okay, let's exit from music, but before we do that, let's check out one final song. Gotcha! Okay, maybe it's not that funny. Over here we've got more songs, the Tetris theme, classic, and finally the Pizza Parlor theme from Club Penguin, also classic. And that's music. I wasn't expecting such a nice interface. It's actually decent even for today's standards. Okay, so I think we're finally ready to check out Net. But before that, let's quickly see if TV schedule works. Okay, it doesn't. So, welcome to Net. As you could have probably guessed already, this is where you'd access the wider internet. You'll notice that the search bar here is exactly the same as the one from Search, and you might be wondering what the point of having both menus is. The answer is that on the Net menu, we can also access the NETVision network, which is basically a forum within NETVision. Over here we have users, groups, top sites, which should be very interesting, the website builder, which is how you create web pages, Today on NETVision, which basically just highlighted what was happening in the community, and my profile. Let's start off here. Whoa, would you look at that? So this is the users list. It looks like there's 2 people online currently, which is more than I expected. We can look up by name here, but we can also sort with this. It says there's 567 pages. Damn, that's a lot. Alright, so in true newbie fashion, we should start friending as many interesting people as possible. So let's friend this whole page here. And as I mentioned before, being friends with someone just means they can see your activity, like on Steam. Damn, this Seeker guy has been a user for a while. That other guy had a pretty old account too. Oh right, I got so caught up in this I forgot to show off the profile, so I'll use Eye-Opener as an example here. It's nothing too huge. You can friend, chat, block. I believe you can prohibit non-friends from messaging you in settings. You can also click the profile pic to expand it. Okay, that's the top row done. I think I'll just friend like 2 other people and stop it. This guy looks boring. So does the... Oh my god, you have got to be kidding. More emails? This bot has to be broken or something because that's just insane. It probably is broken after not being maintained for like 20 years. Jeez, let's keep going here, hopefully with no more interruptions. This bug catch guy looks awesome. I'm gonna shoot him a request. I appreciate that Trafo Dana logo. And finally, this fellow. Here's the second page. I'm gonna friend this guy as well. With that done, I think we can start exploring groups now. You might be wondering if you can still make your own ones, and you actually can, but you need to meet a certain threshold of activity that my account doesn't have or something. Let's take a look at what we've got here. So we have NETVision team, which was the dev team's group, I suppose. It's also pinned, which makes sense. Reddit Vision, which is the group for the subreddit. Pollinators, which has no description, must be a new group. And Flowers, it just says my collection. Bit vague, but okay. Here's the NETVision team group. It's around 20 years old at this point, which is so surreal to think about. So with groups, you got 2 things. A wall which allowed members to converse with each other, and... These are all recent. Yeah, they're very recent. What in the world? That's pretty impressive, but why are they all posting links? Well, I'm not gonna click them, just in case the accounts got hacked or hijacked in some way. This is so weird. Anyways, that's the wall, and here's the users list. However, these 2 aren't the only tabs because if you join a group, you get access to an exclusive chat room. Let's take a look at the group for the subreddit next. Oh, you've gotta be kidding. How is this one active as well? That is... What's this? Looks like one of the head mods quit? What the hell happened here? I quit. The community's become inactive and the servers are overrun with dangerous links, so something has been happening for quite some time now. And not just in the official group. I advise everyone to quit. Smith's account will be posting here to bump up the group every once in a while to notify new users. My full note can be read on the subreddit. Cheers, everyone. That message is 2 years old now. It seems like that Smith person stopped bumping the group though. Must have been a while ago, too. But ironically, the group is still getting bombarded with spam accounts, which sends it to the top of the list. Jeez, whatever's happening is so bad it's caused almost everyone to quit. Whatever that may be. I'm gonna try and find the last real message here. Dear Lord, look at all this. Okay, found it, finally. My finger was starting to hurt. It was all the way down on page 61. These are all from the same day. This might have been the day he gave up. The accounts just harassed him into quitting. Bumping. Read details. Reddit, on your TV. Warning, do not proceed beyond this point. Malicious links are spread in all active groups. I think the entire community has been overrun with this crap. It's really good that they have this warning here. That makes me wonder, is everything really like this? Because if the most recently active groups are experiencing this, in what state are the others? Let's check this one. Man, what in the world is this? What even are these links? What gives with all the flowers? This is absolutely mental. This is even worse than I thought. No wonder those people quit. Look at all this. What even... Hold on. Yeah, wait, I recognize these guys. I've seen them before. Come to think of it, I've recognized a lot of users from the list. This is so weird. It's like they work in unison. This is the weirdest thing ever. And what the hell is that? Good grief. I don't even know what to say. What the hell do these even lead to? Haven't they all been different to? Why does this one have a pinned message? This is some worlds.com cult bullcrap. Oh great, I can't even access this one. Okay, I'm not really sure what's going on here. Perhaps some sort of botting operation or something? But how do you even bot a TV box from the 90s? And why the hell would anyone even do that? Anyways, I think that's enough of that for now. Let's take a look at something else. Alright, so here are the recommended sites. This is practically the exact same menu from search, except now the featured websites are listed up here. We've got the NETVision website, of course, which is obviously defunct, Yahoo, the BBC, eBay, and AOL at the end there, pretty similar to the ones from around me. Let's quickly take a peek at some of the other categories that caught my eye. Yeah, not much to see here. They have IMDb listed, which is cool, but not much else of note. Money? There's both finance and money, which is amusing. Don't both of those words basically mean the same thing? Them putting this here is quite odd because if you're already a white-collar worker, you'd know where to look for these sites, right? I wouldn't trust my television with giving me finance tips, especially if I worked at a bank or something. Let's look at shopping. Holy moly, there's so many options here. Auctions, free market, clothes, hobbies, sports. See, this is what I'm talking about. A page you could actually get some serious use out of. That's something you can't say for the majority of... Looks like we got a message? Maybe it's one of the users we sent a friend request to. Don't remember... What is that even... What? Is this a bot or something? Alright, I think I'll just ignore this guy for now. You know, there's a chance this may actually be one of the bots, or at least one of the other accounts. With how active they are, I was bound to bump into one eventually. It was a matter of time. It could also just be someone playing a prank, but... Man, this stuff is just way too elaborate. Okay. With this top row done, I believe we're ready to start properly browsing the internet, since when we did that test it seemed to work weirdly well. I still cannot believe that the browser still works. I mean, that's practically impossible, isn't it? So how this is gonna work is I have a list of a couple modern sites I want to confirm don't work, and then a list of sites that should be able to show correctly. Since we already looked up YouTube, the next logical one is Google, so let's type that in real quick. And now, the moment of truth. Can we access the homepage? Drumroll, please. Oh my god, we can! How the hell? Okay, I was not expecting that. It's pretty broken, but we can type stuff at least. Is this actually functional? How do I click search? Do I just hit enter? Alright, there we go. Okay, it's not working, but that makes sense. Man, this is insane. Google on a TV box from the 90s, that's not something you see every day. Let me check if we can... Alright, the other pages are broken. I guess their HTML is too advanced for the system. So, next up, let's try to get into Steam. This probably isn't gonna work, but let's give it a try. Yeah, the website's too complex. Can you imagine how awesome it would have been if it let us in? Damn, that's a shame, but expected. You know, the weird thing is, the search engine itself is still operational, it's giving us results. Where those results are being produced from, I have no idea. It's likely they're not even from Alta Vista. Let's look at Wikipedia. I'm not even gonna bother clicking the link, but I want to see what it gives us for images. No way! This search engine is the gift that keeps on giving. It still gives us images? I mean, how is that even possible? This must be hooked up to something else because there's no way it's searching the internet on its own, right? Alright, how do we do a Discord? It's not gonna work, I just want to see the images. Wait, so that means that... Where in the world is it fetching its results from? Because look, over here in the links we have the actual I don't wanna... This is absolutely mental. It's like it's preserved, kinda like the rest of the system. But no, that can't be what's happening. How has it maintained results? Wait a second. I'm at a loss for words. How is this even... So if the search results here are preserved, then... But the Google homepage was the current one. I have no idea what's happening anymore. I guess that means sites with simple HTML will work? Alright, I guess we'll look at the list of period-accurate ones I have next. I don't know what to say. First site I'm going to look up is Fogcam, which is the oldest continuously running webcam in the world. I'm just going to type in the address directly. Oh, well, would you look at that? The fonts are broken, but the actual webcam still shows up, which is the important part. So yeah, this site was created in 1994, as can be read down there, and it was actually a student project from San Francisco State University. Let's do the Klingon Language Institute. This site's been up since '96 if I'm not mistaken. If you don't know what... Oh damn it doesn't let us in? The site has been modernized, maybe that's why. So this next one is the infamous Strawberry Pop-Tart Blowtorches website. You might have heard about it before, you might have not, it's a pretty ancient internet meme. But basically, it's this. Wow, it works perfectly. It's just some guy that made a guide on how to overheat Pop-Tarts until they catch fire. 1994, wow. It's really impressive how the system automatically adjusts sites to fit the interface. Next up is the Robert De Niro page, which is basically what it sounds like. It was one of those old-fashioned fan sites for celebrities and... Aw man, it's not online anymore? Or maybe they updated it? Shoot. Let's do the original Space Jam site from the 90s instead. Oh, it's gone now? Damn, that's a shame. Well, that was actually the last site I had planned. I don't really have any more in mind. Actually, I think I do. Hold on. This might be a bad idea, but these links, I mean, they've just been sitting in the back of my mind ever since I got into groups. I am genuinely curious as to what they lead to, and I'm sure you guys are as well. We'll explore the one that caught my eye. And what's the worst that could happen? This is as proprietary as software gets. I doubt we'll run into anything malicious. Plus, this is a NETVision address, which means it was created in the site builder. There's a very big chance this is just a regular site someone made. In fact, I'm pretty sure it is. It'll be a good opportunity to showcase the site builder pages. But that warning... Well, I don't have much to lose here. Let's just see. Jesus Christ, what the hell was that? That scared the living crap out of me. Good grief, what am I even looking at? Well, I wasn't expecting much of anything, but I definitely wasn't picturing this. Butterfly homepage. This is just... index? Look at all this. It goes up to 10? This might not be a good idea. What on earth? It just goes on and on. More? Oh god. No, wait, it just goes up to 12 now. There are subsections? A passkey, it wants a... What even is this website for? Can he even do this crap in the editor? Okay, I'm not sure if I should try. Do I just try typing something? I don't know what you put in. This has gotta be some kind of joke, man. How about... What was it? No. This? No, how about... Damn, I'm never gonna guess this. I shouldn't even be trying this to begin with. Oh, what's happening? Redirecting? Wait, what? No. This was just... Is this even the same address? It is the same address! How did it... It's like... How did it do that? It's just like a regular page. What in the world did we even see? Was this a normal website before it became that? Or was this something else? Why won't it let me... I think I'm... If that guy messages me again, I'm blocking him. I mean, I know this is probably just a prank or... But I don't know. Maybe it's just like one of the administrators messing around? Some kind of art project? Some bored fans took over and just started raiding the servers or something? What it did was... It wasn't... Okay, I've taken some time to collect my thoughts here, and I think I'm ready to check out the last few pages now. It shouldn't take us long. So, we have the website builder, today on NETVision, and the profile. I'm gonna check out Site Builder first, as that seems like the far more interesting option, plus it'll answer some of my, questions. So, this is the Site Builder. This was one of the features the team cloned straight from WebTV, and it allowed you to essentially create your own website. As you may have noticed, the domain is actually just a NetViz address with a subdomain that has your page. You don't actually host the site. Let's click Build. Here are all the templates they gave you, which was a very convenient starting off point. Now, let me see if I can find... So it was one. Okay, let's start looking for a template here. Man, look at all these. This is a ridiculous amount. And these are just the categories. There's practically a template for everything. We have ones for holidays, hobbies, countries, sports, animals, colors, technology. How about we do, let's see what's in technology. Ooh, computers could be good. Let's do that. I think that fits best since, you know, it's kind of my thing. We do have phones here, which could work too. Let's do computers. Now, name your website. Okay, Electronics website. And this is our interface. It's quite bare bones, and it doesn't let you do more complex stuff, but for making a little personal site in the early 2000s, it's pretty good. So let's change the title here, and let's start writing something. Next page, there we go. Hey, my name is Electronick, and welcome to my webpage. I really like technology and corn dogs or whatever. Let's spruce things up with some images, shall we? What's awesome about the builder is you could import your own saved images, so you could get really crazy with it. How do I use this little menu here? Okay, with the numpad. So let's see, I already have a composition in my... That wasn't there before. It's a folder? No, a zip... This must have downloaded from somewhere. Is this from the... Okay, so I've decided to transfer it to a PC to examine it closer. I'm running a virtual machine as well, just in case. So, for starters, the entire file is 4 gigs, which is, well, a lot considering the type of files in it, because, well, take a look at this. It's all PDF and TXT files. There has to be at least 400 or 500 files in here. As for the documents themselves, they seem to be just nonsense, at least from the few I've opened. And look at this folder, it's just docx files filled to the absolute brim. The only exception I found was this other folder, which has a couple MOV files, but it's the only one I've seen. I genuinely don't know what to make of this. It's possible that this is just some prank or something, but if this is a virus, then it's not a very obvious one. I wouldn't consider this a prank either. Someone's gotta be messing with me, man. There's no way. Hold on, if that site downloaded a file to images, does that... Nothing? I was expecting something, but... Okay. I'm going to delete that file after I'm done with this, but for now I think it'd be best if we just continued on as usual. I'll admit, it's a little difficult to ignore, but... I guess now that we're here, we might as well pick some music for the custom site, right? The builder allows you to set a music track for your site, which I find very cool. It's not something you see nowadays, websites with background music. So let's take a look at our options here. How about, the default theme? Nah, too much. How about the second one? Yeah, that's good. Okay, now that we have a music track up and going, we should be able to just upload it. Why does it sound like that? It didn't sound like that before.